and thank you for watching The Righteous Kitchen, a cooking and baking blog found at www.therighteouskitchen.blogspot.com. Today I am making a recipe for Jamaican banana bread. If you like banana bread, you're going to enjoy this tropical twist. It includes rum, coconut, and lime juice. Alright, so I have all of my ingredients prepped. We have the topping ingredients measured, the wet ingredients, the dry ingredients. We have to prepare the pan, and then we have the sugar, butter, and egg that's going to go into the mixer first. And notice we are using very ripe bananas for this. You really want that banana flavor to be intensified in this recipe. I do like to line my loaf pan with parchment. It's really nice and easy to lift it out. It's not going to stick to the pan. So it just takes a minute. I grease the pan with Crisco. Want a nice even coating. Make sure you get the sides and the corners really well, and of course the bottom. I'm using a vintage Oven Next baking tin. I do have a fondness for vintage cooking equipment. So I'm just covering the bottom of the pan. I'm not worried about the sides. I'll release that side with a knife. I just want to make sure I've got the bottom and the long sides covered. And then I'll come in with a little more Crisco right over the top of the parchment. I always bake on a tray in case there's spillage. It goes on the tray and it'll keep my oven clean. So let me put this off to the side. This recipe calls for 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I don't weigh it with a scale, but I do like to make sure that the flour is aerated. I measure over a large bowl. Making sure to go over the cup amount and then leveling it off with a knife. So there's 1 cup. And 2 cups. We'll set that to the side. We're going to add our baking soda and salt. And I'm going to give this a quick whisk. That's our dry ingredients. Now to our wet ingredients. I have 1.5 cups of mashed banana, really ripe. Again, we're using very ripe bananas. You want the flavor to be intensified. You want to know that you're eating bananas when you taste this bread. So this is 1.5 cups. Just get in a bowl and mash it. We have coconut. We have rum and vanilla extract. And I'm using plain Greek yogurt. You could use a flavored yogurt if you want. Maybe a pineapple or a pina colada would go good with this to keep those tropical flavors. So we're just going to mix this. And now we have our wet, our dry, and then we have our eggs, butter, and sugar. So let's scoot the mixer over here. Okay, we have our butter that's room temperature. And sugar. We're going to go ahead and soften this and kind of get the butter incorporated with the sugar. Once we have the sugar and butter blended, we're going to mix in our eggs. And we're going to let this get nice and fluffy. Go ahead and give it a scrape down. You want to make sure you've got all that sugar off the bottom of your mixing bowl. And this is what you're looking for. Nice. I like to beat to where it's fluffy or till the eggs turn like a pale yellow color. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put in half of the flour mixture. Put this on low so you don't get flour all over the place. We're going to mix it just until it's combined. There it is. I'm going to put in all of the banana mixture. Okay, start this out on low. And now we'll put the remainder of the flour mixture. We'll let that go just until it's mixed. And then I always like to finish the mix by hand. And then to get the beater clean, I just hit it up against this rubber spatula, and that's gonna save me from banging this beater onto the mixing bowl and cracking it and damaging it. Another tip for these beater blades is not to put them in the dishwasher. That also promotes cracking. This beater blade is probably from the early 90s and it's still in perfect condition. So you just want to take care of your stuff. I'm going to just take the spatula and get the sides of the pan and the bottom. I'm just looking to make sure that everything is incorporated. And it looks really good. Okay, all right, so we're just going to go ahead and fill our pan. You don't want to fill it more than 3/4 of the way. All right. Just take a knife and just level this, get it into the corners. Just drag my knife through here a little bit. Okay. Give it a couple of taps just to level it out. All right, so this looks like it's just a little over 3/4, so let's hope that it doesn't bubble over the pan. If it does, I've got this protective tray here, so I won't be too worried about it. This is going to go into a 350-degree oven. The bake time is 1 hour. It could be a little bit longer, so we'll check it and make sure it's done. All right, we'll be back when this is done. It has been 1 hour since I put this in the oven, and I just want to check it really quick. You could smell it. See how it's, when I'm pressing on it, wants to give in a little bit, and I can actually see some of the batter still. So I know this isn't done, but I like it. It's getting a nice dome. It's getting good caramelization, a nice crust on it built up. But it does need longer than the specified 1 hour cooking time, and that's going to be dependent on your oven mainly, but you do want to check it. Since the bread is almost done baking, I'm going to go ahead and whisk together the topping ingredients. All that is powdered sugar, a little bit of sweetened coconut, and some lime juice. I'm going to add this lime juice just a little at a time because I don't want it to be too runny. And it looks like it's going to go ahead and take all of it. That's 1.5 tablespoons of fresh lime juice. I'm just going to mix this up, and then this is going to be poured right over the hot bread when it comes out of the oven. So just mix this together and we'll have it ready to pour on the bread. Okay, we are at 1 hour and 33 minutes on this Jamaican banana bread. The cake tester is coming out clean. You can smell it. It's got a beautiful even crust on the top. It's just starting to pull from the edges just a little bit. And when I press it now, it's firm. So this is a good lesson in cooking times. The recipe I'm using off of the internet says 60 minutes. Well, it took 1 hour and 33 minutes. You have to know when things are done. I always go through this when I'm showing you a baked cake or a bread or a muffin or that type of thing. You can smell it. It looks done. It pulls from the edges a little bit, and it springs back up when you touch it with your finger. That's how you know it's done. Don't rely on cooking times. That being said, I'm going to update the recipe to 1 hour and a half. What I'm going to do now, while it's nice and warm, I'm going to run my knife on these edges. And I've got a thin, straight edged knife. That's just going to release it and keep it from sticking. And then I'm going to go on the back side of this parchment and make sure that my knife can get through that. And I have this glaze that I put together. So I want this to go on while it's nice and warm. You're just going to spread it over the entire top of the loaf. And make sure you get all the sides and everything. Look at that, that's beautiful. Right over that hot bread. I like how this rose up nice, got a nice pretty dome. I'm gonna let this sit just for about 5 minutes for this topping just to set up a little bit. It smells like lime and coconut. Very nice tropical smell to it. Okay, I'm gonna let this set for 5 minutes. Okay, once it's set up for a few minutes, you can just lift it and move it right to the cooling rack. All right, let's get ready to cut this beautiful Jamaican banana bread. Look at that. Beautiful texture, even coloring throughout. It's nice and moist. It's got a beautiful glaze. It's like a shellac. Cut another slice. It's just beautiful. All right, let's take a little taste. It smells really good. It's got a nice tropical smell. You taste that lime and coconut on the first bite, but then it's a really profound taste of banana. Very good, very moist and delicious. This is why this quickly became one of our favorite banana breads. So good. Wow. Perfect. Look how perfect that bread looks. Nice dome top. Nice even browning on the top and the sides. And remember, this recipe said to only bake for 60 minutes. In my oven, it took closer to 1.5 hours. So it doesn't really matter what a recipe says on cooking time. You're gonna need to know how to judge when it's done. And I walk you through that on all of my recipes. It looked like it was done. You could smell it. It had even covering. When you pressed it with your finger, it bounced back. It didn't have an indent. The sides were coming from the pan, and it tested clean with the cake tester. So you're gonna wanna know all those things, rely on your senses, and rely on the testing methods versus the cooking time. All right, that's Jamaican banana bread. I encourage you to get on the internet and look up Jamaican cuisine. There is a nice tourist travel website that had a lot of really nice, authentic Caribbean recipes. Look for more Jamaican bloggers, get acquainted with the food. Try this banana recipe, it's really good. All right, I'm gonna get some photos and then I'll post them at the end of the video. Again, thank you for watching. I'd like to grow this page, so if you could like, subscribe, and share, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great day.